Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Sundari, Mase, Sonoma County's health officer. I'm here to share the latest updates on coronavirus in Sonoma County. So as of April 16th, we have 163 confirmed cases. We've added 3 new cases since yesterday. 82 are active, 79 recovered, and we still have the 2 deaths that we have reported. We've done 4,010 tests to date. Today, I'd like to talk some about the modeling that we've done for our county. As you know, and I've presented before, our modeling shows that without any kind of mitigating interventions like our shelter-in-place order, we could have expected to see up to 10,000 bed needs, that is, people who need to be hospitalized for COVID-19 at the very peak of our surge. Luckily, with the shelter-in-place, we appear to have flattened the curve significantly, and we're not seeing that kind of surge at this time. Shelter-in-place has been much more effective even than we predicted, which is a really good thing, and I'm really happy and thank everybody who's complied with the stay-at-home orders to date. Now, the model does show also that shelter-in-place does not need to last indefinitely, but that there is a need for additional interventions moving forward. So as we're going to come out of the shelter-in-place slowly and systematically, we've got to do other things to ensure that we're catching all of our cases and making sure that they stay isolated and all the contacts are getting evaluated. So what we're doing is increasing our testing capability. We're also making sure that all of our cases are interviewed, but we find all of the contacts for each case, and that we isolate the cases and test all of the contacts, symptomatic and asymptomatic, and make sure that the contacts are quarantined for the 14 days to make sure that they don't become a case during that time. So the latest modeling also shows that if we do implement a very strong testing strategy, that we could further mitigate a second surge that would happen after we stop shelter in place. So it's really important that we move towards being able to test everybody who has symptoms for COVID-19. So I look forward to sharing more information about modeling with you as we get it. I'd also like to remind you that tomorrow, or actually at midnight tonight, the facial covering order goes into effect. And just to remind people, what you need to do is wear a facial covering, which could be a homemade mask made out of fabric. It could be a bandana, a scarf, or anything else that covers your face and nose that is your mouth and nose when you go out into public. So you should wear the facial covering whenever you enter any indoor facilities, like if you go to the grocery store, laundromat or cleaners, the work facilities, any post office, that kind of thing. Also, if you go into any other enclosed open space, like taxis or ride shares, buses, when you're outdoors, if you're unable to perform the social distancing or physical distancing of 6 feet from the next person, then you should also wear your facial covering. This may apply to places like farmers markets, at the gas station, a drive-through, curbside pickup, those sorts of things. Remember that everybody should continue to remain home, except for essential activities, and that you need to use the social and physical distancing of 6 feet when outside your home. So I thank you for your cooperation with following the orders and emphasize the importance of wearing these facial coverings in public. So we need to further flatten the curve. And this is another activity that will help us come out of shelter in place. So what are our community questions for today? If we all have to wear masks now, why can't we go to the beach or the park? Well, although facial coverings can reduce the spread of the coronavirus, if the parks open and become crowded, it could potentially compromise public health and create more transmission, community transmission that is, of COVID-19. We're also in the initial stages of planning for how we can open certain services while maintaining the public health, and you'll hear more about that within the next week or 2. Another question we got was, do we need to wear face coverings in our backyards or when we walk in our neighborhoods? There should be just you and other household members in your backyard, so you don't need to wear a face covering in that instance. However, face coverings are required if you're walking in your neighborhood, if you're unable to maintain a 6-foot distance from another person at all times. So use your best judgment. And thanks for joining for today, and we'll be back here tomorrow.